All right, welcome back and thanks for staying right there. It's still rapid dawn, and thank you to every single one who have been part of our viewing audience from the start of the hour, 7, and now at 9 o'clock, where we promise to have amazing conversations. Now, we know that Nigeria is preparing to mark Democracy Day. As we gradually prepare for that day, the spotlight is gradually turning to some of the most critical instruments of government, and that is the national budget, with trillions allocated annually. Now, questions continue to surface about the implementation of this budget, transparency, the impact of, this budget, and from the National Assembly to the Auditor General's office, concerns have been raised over setting inflated figures, underutilized funds, and the true reflection of our developmental priorities. Now, due to that, of course, as a station that is keen on educating and informing you in the best way possible, we have someone joining us right here in the studio who will help us dissect this budget. Now, we will question some of the allocations that are being made and the utilization of these allocations as well. Of course, publications are being made about the social space, about frivolous items out of the mandate of the MDAs, what is allocations are being used for. Just yesterday, we had someone in the studio that was questioning, particularly his constituency chairman or the senator from his constituency about the implementation of projects. According to him, from 2019 up until 2025, there ought to have been 130 completed borehole projects within that constituency, but less than 30, or at least 30, were being delivered. No question have been raised. He has not been called back from the Senate. These are things that continue to make Nigerians raise their brows, especially about how the monies that have been allocated to these MDAs, these agencies, are being utilized. And so for that, I am Martha. We'll be having the conversation alongside my co-host.
All right, so this morning we're having a very good...
You're supposed to tell them your name.
Don't mind me.
She's skipping, right?
The way I am this morning, just manage me. But it's not about it's not about me, it's about the budget. So this morning we're going to be having a great conversation, and it's centered on the budget, okay? And last year we talked about the 2024 budget, and we had a guest to talk about this. And this year he's back again to talk about the 2025 budget, and he was the project tracking officer for budget, but now he's the state officer. More and more tasks given to him. I'm talking about Abdullahi Garba. It's so great to have you in the studio this beautiful morning.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right, I'm definitely sure that you're really excited about the budget conversation. And just to give you a highlight of it, that the Nigerian 2025 budget signed into law by the president, some say, if we have our numbers correct, totals about 54.99 trillion. And of course, this budget is actually characterized by a deficit of 08 trillion. And of course, some say it's going to be financed through borrowing. That's one part that we would delve into. Now, key features of the details of this budget. We have budget of restoration, securing peace, rebuilding and prosperity, debt servicing, healthcare allocation, economic goals, revenue, deficit, title, and of course, we now have the total budget. There is a lot of conversations regarding to this budget. But then one of my favorite question is, we have the aspect of borrowing in our budget, Mr. Abdullahi. Let's now start with this huge amount of budget that we have for 2025. Let's not even start going into the aspect of how these guys cannot even account for these monies in subsequent budgets, how most of the things that were budgeted for, we don't even see them being achieved. Let's not even go, we'll talk about other part, but let's start with 2025 budget as it stands right now. As budget, right? Because your work basically is to scrutinize the budget. So as budget, when you guys saw this budget, what was the first thing that came to your mind? Again.
You see, thank you so much for having me here. Once again, my name is Garba Abdullahi, the State Officer for Budgets in the FCT here. And these are wonderful questions. I will say that as budgets, we don't, when we first saw this budget by the presidency on the on how it was passed to law and the all processes, we did not take it as a staff of budget. We assume we are ordinary citizens. So that is why the reactions that we will take is the general reactions that an ordinary citizen will take. So when I'm talking about this budget, in fact, if we look at it in a layman language, most time people think that the budget is also a secret document being kept for particular purposes. They don't know that this is a public document meant for the citizens, and the citizens are meant to ask questions about it. We are talking about 2025 budget, but I would like to say that we have to reflect our mind backward. In 2021, the budget was not as huge as this. In 2022, 2023, 2024, it was not as huge as this. Of course, there were insertions, we'll come to that. But in 2025, it's tripled. The figures tripled, 80.96% increased. So you see that there's huge gap in this increase of the budget. So a lot of thoughts now comes to the budget's mind. Why is this increase? Why is happening? Why is this happening in these systems? We begin to make our own finding. So that is why we'll come out with a lot of these figures and a lot of, in fact, so disheartening that we have a lot of work to do in Nigeria.
Certainly. All right. The 2025 budget has been described as ambitious, right, and growth-oriented by the executive. Now, from where you sit, does the budget reflect a realistic alignment of Nigerians' current economic realities?
Well, you know, that's why most time when we speak based on as ordinary Nigerian, the impacts, the reality on ground. We've not started the implementation process
of the budget,
and if we're talking about how or when it's going to start, we don't know, because this is a country. So if you're talking on the realistic part of it with the economic we are facing today, I would say that it is though okay because of the increase of things that is happening. Now look at, let's go to transportation system now. Ordinary Nigerian cannot afford to travel because of the way of high increase. So if they have this budget being increased, it means that they are going to do work. So we don't really know whether they will do the work because of that. Ordinarily, things are not easy for the ordinary citizens because economic hardships being faced by the citizens is the main reality that the current country are facing now.
All right. Also, I
don't really know whether I've answered your question.
I was asking about the realistic nature of the budget because you said that, you know, this budget has tripled. You took us back from 2021, 2, 3, 4, and then to 2025. And according to you, the budget has tripled.
Yes.
If at the time when the budget was how it was, with the economic realities at the time, not as biting as it is right now, what is the guarantee that regardless of the fact that that budget is being tripled, we will see implementation of this project?
Well, this has left Nigeria into suspense state because in the past, we've not seen any of this thing happening. That is why we keep on asking that. In the past, what has happened? Nothing has happened really. The 2024, even though we are talking about the 2025 now, I will just have to downgrade because of the comparisons we want to. We are seeing the 2024 budget implementation, and not full funds has been released for this budget implementation. So that is one reason you should know that things are not moving well in budgeting aspect. Because the way the country budget work normally constitutionally is supposed to work every cycle of the year, which begins by either December to January. Then January, the process of January, February, March, the implementation starts. But Nigeria doesn't. Because if we're talking up to now, we are seeing in 2020, even the 2023, some projects, some funds have not been released for it all. Because of the late implementations and also the, how do we call this, budget, sorry, this word just escaped me.
Deficit?
Yes, deficit. And also when they are doing budgeting, Then after the budget, the one that comes up, that supplementary budget.
Supplementary budget.
Yes, it's still on. You see? So if
for 2023.
Yes. If we are talking of that, what of 2024? That the full implementation have not started. Then coming to 2025. So it means that we still have a lot of work to do. So okay. The actual part of it, the realistic part of it is that the countries are not doing the citizens a favor.
Okay. So earlier in the year, what's in the early part of the year anyway, but a few months ago, there were lots of conversations regarding to what's happening in the international scene in terms of price of oil, in terms of the economic situation of the world, the U.S. issues with Russia and the rest of the Ukraine, all the different problems. And of course, we had issues of price of oil dropping, the taxes from Donald Trump and the rest. And some persons, the conversation started off by saying, okay, fine. With these things happening, we're going to have issues with our budget because now price of crude is falling and we may not be able to keep up because there was the conversation of budget came in again because what is in the budget does not reflect the reality on ground. Now, which now brings us to the heavy reliance of crude, because as it stands right now, we rely heavily on crude. Now, some people say, okay, let's move to tech, let's go back to agriculture. But then again, as it stands right now, we're still relying so much on crude. Do you think that there's any solution, to this? Because as it is, crude cannot save us.
You see, let me start by this. Sometimes we go as far as checking these processes on aspects of crude. When we're talking of crude oil, and it in times brings about transportations automatically, and also we should look at the consumption parts, the consumption parts, and also the production part of it. When the Mr. President comes to power, he said it physically, verbally, that the subsidy has been cut, and that is how it stands. So since then, a lot of inflations increase in terms of transportation, in terms of purchasing of this crude, in terms of any other aspect of it. Even the agriculture, everything increased because the primary aim of everything Nigerians relies on this crude oil.
It's crude, yes.
Yes. So and again, if we look at it again, the Nigerian refineries are not functioning. I don't know whether it's functioning in some part of the country, but as far as I'm concerned, they are not functioning. Because if we cannot produce this oil or fuel by ourselves, it means there's a problem. And also, if we cannot make this available for the citizens, it means that there's a problem. So in this, your question you asked, I would say that the current aspect of Nigerians should not be focused only on this crude oil. Yes. And also, I was having a conversation with one of my friends that is working with Airano. Airano is one of the major marketer of fuel in Nigeria, and he's also the chairman. So he's telling me that the Mr. Airano is now moving to agrochemical and also to transportation, maybe in terms of carrying goods from one place to another. But he's not focusing more on fuel because, one, if they are going to load the fuel, the fuel in the refinery where they are loading it, the cost is high. They come to where they are selling at the fuel station, the cost, they are not having the gain the way they are having because of the subsidy they remove. Imagine you are buying 1 liter of fuel, 1,000 naira, and your daily incomes is not even up to that. Maybe your let me just say hourly incomes is not even up to that. So how will you survive? So there's a lot of issues that we need to address in that aspect. We cannot focus only on that.
On the oil.
Yes.
All right. Now, let me just bring you back. Let me address this question like in a layman's language. Say, for instance, you are worth 20,000 naira. As a person who's worth 20,000 naira, when you go into the market for purchase, when you are budgeting what you will spend in the market, we know that you cannot spend 20,000 naira on feeding alone because that is what you are currently worth. Now, looking at Nigeria with over 28 trillion naira, in the 2024 budget, right?
Yes.
And a heavy debt servicing ratio. Now, do you believe in the current fiscal trajectory of our country? Because it's looking like we are spending a lot more than what we are gaining as a country. Our gross GDP sometimes is not even up to what is reflected in our budget.
Yes.
Now, do you think these budgets reflect our real economic transformation or trajectory, by the way, or it's just mere survivalist budgeting?
You see, I would say it's just mere survival budget because of the current realistic on ground, just the way you say it. Okay. You cannot use 20K or 20,000 naira to go to a market, maybe in the rural community, and even get what you want. Talk more of places like the urban area, like Greki Village or any other places that you can just use 20,000 and even buy one fruit or maybe one something. That is just all. So it means that a lot of things need to be addressed also in that aspect. It doesn't.
How is budget addressing it?
So what we are doing, what we are doing now, we are trying to look at what is the main problem. Because we know that that the National Assembly and also the presidencies, that is the federal government, have most of this say on this budget aspect. So we will look at this, since it's public document, we look at it line by line to analyze it, what is lacking and what is not lacking. So most of the time we discover a lot of things. Okay, let me just share this small. We discover in the 2021, we discovered that the 5,601 insertion of budget was made into 2021 budget, which is worth of now around 13.15 billion. So you see, that time, the current reality on ground is not the same as now, as of 2021. Then 2022, we discover another thing. So the reason why we are doing this, we want to know the real problem that is causing this lack of main addressing in terms of economic aspect, in terms of transportation, in terms of everything. We are looking at it. So in 2022, we discovered 4,062 insertion of budgets of projects into the budget, which worth of now around 10.37 billion. So in 2025, we discovered 7,447 insertion, which worth of 2.24 trillion. So you see, it increases from 2021, 2022, 2024, it increases, the insertion increase.
Even worse in 2025.
Even worse in 2025.
Yeah.
So you see the reality on ground that the hardship of 2021, it was less, 2022 was less, 2023 was less, then 2024, it increased. 2025, it will be more increased because of what is happening in the budgeting aspect. So if we did not bring out this finding, citizens will not be able to know that this is what is happening. And this is the main cause of our hardship in Nigeria.
Okay. In this very month of June, budget released something that made Nigerians get concerned. Can we have that image on the screen, which was since you're talking about insertions now, the insertions by the National Assembly in the 2025 budget, and of course the frivolous items out of the mandate of the MDS. Now, if we expand that on the screen, we would see, let's expand that so that every eyes can see, not just our eyes alone. All right, so it says that when it comes to purchase, provision or utility vehicles and other vehicles to assist some farmers, guard and some distribution agents in agri chain distribution in Nigeria, we are having so much money here, this insertion. Now, that's because you mentioned agriculture and the rest of them. We are having, this is about 900 million, if I get that correctly. This is about 500 million. This is about 1 billion thereabout. This is about 3 billion here. Now, all of these insertions, well, and I'm sure the aim of releasing this is for Nigerians to be aware, if I get that correctly, for Nigerians to be aware, and maybe for Nigerians to get angry and ask more questions, because it seems as though Nigerians are not asking questions. Now, let me also take our minds back to the fact that I think about 2 months ago, there were conversations on the social space that Nigerians are not angry enough with what the National Assembly did. They just casually insert things into the budget, and it seems like nobody's taking note of it. But thank God we have Budget, who is reminding us that we need to look at this. Now, it's not about reminding us to look at it. It's about what can we do? Because many of these insertions, we will likely not see them happen. They will likely not be used. So what happens to these monies?
You see, when you say that, first point, you say that we are making finding for us to send to the public so that Nigerians will get angry. We are not necessarily telling Nigerians to get angry.
No, but we need to be angry.
Because if you get angry, you will not be able to solve the problem.
Okay.
So the only thing we ask Nigerians to do is to ask questions.
Exactly.
We don't get angry. If you get angry, you react.
Okay.
So if we ask Nigerians, like me as ordinary Nigerian, I'll ask my senator or my House of Representative, Abuja South or Abuja North, that look, we are discovering, we are seeing this happening. What is the issue? Why is it not reflecting into your constituency?
Okay.
That's what we are telling Nigerians to do. We are telling Nigerians, look, call down your House of Rep, call down your senator, ask them the questions that this is what they are seeing. Why are they not seeing implementations in their constituencies? So that they are, when Nigerians ask questions, they react. The people there at the National Assembly do the right thing. So that is what we are telling Nigerians to do. And also, are we aware that there is a funds being budgeted for a particular session, that is zonal intervention for them at the National Assembly?
Yes.
Worth of billions of naira, 100 billion every year for them to do work. So what are they doing with this project? And if you are talking of the insertion again, you say that it may or it may not work. It's no work. This money is for their pocket. It's not for you and me sitting here to benefit in our constituencies. Let me just use that, because we cannot benefit for any of them. Let them do the work that they say. Okay, if they say they are going to provide street light for these streets, have they provided a street light? What is the cost of the street light? How do we know the quantity, the bill of quantity of all these things? Most of these things, so many people don't have access to it. As budgets, we have access to them because we are working in hands with ICPC and EFCC. Most time we have access to most of this first-hand information to see what they really do. Why they put this budget? They will meet an agency and tell you that rapport with them. Me, my constituency, I want to eat. You want to eat food. Okay, how do we do now so that we can rapport? Let me put 10 billion into your agency so that if they bring the budget, you give me you give me my own share, then you take your own. So they will just say, okay, in FCTA, we have a lot of budget. In fact, as of 2021 till now, we have some project that funds have been allocated for, even released, but you don't know where they are being implemented.
Okay.
So this is the reason why they put that, because they get that fund for themselves.
So these insertions are more like our pocket money.
Pocket money. Okay. From what you have said, it takes us back to the next question, which is budget monitoring. Because it's looking like when these budgets are being allocated, there is no efficient system that sees that these budgets are being monitored to ensure that what is being captured in the budget is actually being implemented with the funds that the budget has captured it with. Is there a system? Because 3 things you said here. Nigerians can ask questions. Budget materials are public. Nigerians can question their senators or people that are in the places where these funds are being released. How is this possible? Because if you are telling us we can question, how can we question? Is there a platform where we can access the full budget, the insertions being captured, the figures, everything? And if we want to go about questioning the budget, how do we go about that? Before you go on to telling us how the budget is being monitored.
You see, when I came this morning,
yes,
we released a publication on what I just told you people about 2021, yes, 2022, 2024. The trends of insertions, let me come before I will answer the questions.
Okay.
The trend of insertions by the National Assemblies in the federal budget, 2021, I just said it, what of this? Now, this is a platform for us.
Okay.
If you don't know, you contact any of us. the budget have the state officer across the 36 states that are working in all the local government. Because if you come to FCT now, ask me about FCT. We have 885 community in Abuja here. So each of these 885 community, I have visited all. So why did I visit this? Most times we go to this community, we'll tell them about this budget or allocation of funds in your community. That is, we are giving you a platform in your community or in your area to ask questions. We will even provide you, furnish you with their phone number so that you can ask them questions, their email address, their office address, so that you can ask them questions. If you cannot reach them, you reach out to Budget. Budget can go and ask on your behalf. That is what we do. We have already, and if you're talking of platform for the government, if you ask the government, they will tell you that they have monitoring systems and evaluation system that they monitor most of these projects and also things. Now, I have tracked a project with ICPC, which the ICPC are doing a very wonderful job in this aspect. What they do is that they go as far as any length to monitor each project that they say they have paid money for. Because they have the power to collect this document from any agencies to check it and also call the contractor on ground. There was a project we track around this Waru Wasa Road. I'm just giving an example since FCT here. Waru Wasa Road, we have 10-kilometer road that was supposed to be constructed inside to a rural community. It's very far. So the contractor thinks maybe the ICPC and us cannot be able to track the project to the end. So we are going to say, this place is very far. This place is bush. There are kidnappers and bandits. We say, no, let us reach the end. We have to reach the end of that. What we discover is that they've not done any project in that place. And they have paid the money for it. As soon as we come back, the ICPC invited the contractor and the consultant. Before we know, they give them the contractor and the consultant say, oh, they have to go back to the site or they will refund the money to federal government. So before we know, and 1, 2, 3 months, when I visit the site again, I see that they've constructed the road. So this is what they do. And this is what we want the citizens to do. If you have any question, anything at all that you need to ask about this federal government budget, you need to contact either Budget or send a message to all this. If you send a message to ICPC or EFCC, or these are only the agencies that the people are scared of, ordinary people are scared of. So they will invite them. If they did not respond to you, most time we ask them, like this ICPC and EFCC, to give us feedback of what we are giving them, because we report a lot of cases to them. So that we can tell the citizens that what you reported to us, we send it forward to ICPC and they have now worked on it. And this is the result. So most times some people will just stay in social media and pick information without going to the location. So and ask. So this is one of the reasons why we do all this.
All right. Thank you so much for that. But before we go out on this break, let me ask about pro-poor policies. Because it's looking like when we are talking about inclusion of the rural community or the poor people into the budget, the next thing we hear is roads are being constructed. Roads are being constructed for the poor people. And road is not the only problem that poor people face in this economy, in this country, you know. So I want to ask, do you think the current administration has prioritized pro-poor policies within the budget, or we are just seeing some top-heavy fiscal agenda in the budget?
You see, where most times Nigeria have a very beautiful policies that's supposed to work. They have, ever since the 1987, they have policies that they put on ground that if they begin to take the implementation step now, the ordinary Nigerians will feel the impact, especially people at the rural community. But just the way we say that Nigeria is just a system, it's just a system where people will just come and do what they want and go. If they like, they will do it. If they like, they will not do it, and nobody will question them. So most times these policies are not visible, yes, for the poor people, but because of the implementation is not visible, because they are not taking any action in it, so they don't act about it.
All right. I think that we'll just go on a very short break. I do have a couple of questions I want to ask, but we'll just go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll get right into it.
This is Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN. We connect people, power stories, and amplify voices. On Rapid TV, we're rooted in culture and your window to the stories that matter. From news to lifestyle, we inform, entertain, and uplift. Join Rapid TV on StarTimes Channel 176, Nightcomsat. On Rapid FM, we speak your language from the soulful airwaves of Umuahia to the vibrant culture of Port Harcourt and beyond. More than broadcasters, we're creators, amplifying that voice within with powerful content across TV, radio, and digital. Join us at rbnradiotv.com and all our social media handles. One network, one voice. Rapid Broadcasting Network, RBN, the sound of your city. Rooted in truth, driven by impact.
From the heart of Africa, where dreams are born and passion is boundless, a new wave of talent rises. In La Liga, these extraordinary athletes are not just playing the game, they're transforming it.
Danny Rodriguez, the man chasing, it's Lamine Yamal. What a magnificent goal that
They
is!
shine on the world stage. Watch as they redefine football, inspire millions, and make history. La Liga, where dreams become reality.
All right, welcome back. It's Rapid Dawn this beautiful morning, and of course we're still discussing the 2025 budget, and our guest Abdullahi Garuba is still here with us to talk about the budget and some of the inconsistencies in the budget. Now, when he was speaking earlier, he did mention something about monitoring, tracking, how they go out there to check this project. Just recently, the issue that was all over everywhere, people going to check out the roads that was commissioned, and and it created a whole lot of buzz because some persons took their time. In fact, this morning, Reno Omokri made a post and he said he was going to go by himself to check out the road because there have been lots of videos on the social space saying that this road is not complete, and how much did it cost, you know, for this road, and why are they commissioning a project that is not finished? So Reno Omokri did say that he was going to be going out there, and then any media person who wants to also join him should also join in. So I'm looking forward to see what, maybe he's going to see something different from what other persons who have gone there have seen. Maybe automatically the road will just get completed before he gets there. But these are some of the things. Now, you talked about how everyone is open to going there to monitor and then write to you guys, or maybe write to, and then you would follow up with the ICPC guys and, you know, see how you can track that. But it takes a lot of resources to do that. Let's say, for example, you have a project. Let's use FCT since we're in FCT. So you have a project somewhere in maybe Gwagwalada, for example. So it takes a person who is boxed up, let us use our local boxed up, you know, to say, okay, I want to use this money, knowing how expensive transportation is, I want to go and check if this person really did this. And then he started moving all the way to Gwagwalada. And it would take him a lot in terms of financially. So when we are looking at certain things that might limit Nigerians from tracking, following up on some of these projects, don't choose that this is part of it. And then for you as an organization, like for budgets now, does budget have like a budget, right, in budgets that says, okay, this one is for tracking? And again, who funds these activities?
Okay. You see, thank you so much for these wonderful questions. Actually, ordinary citizens in Nigeria cannot afford to do that. because of the high cost of transportation from here to Gwagwalada, and also even from here to maybe Karu, Jukwe, Aixis, or maybe to Buari, or maybe to Suba, or maybe to Abaji. You see, that is why Budget has established this initiative to bring people on board who are in their vicinity, metropolis, in their own environment. We don't need you, as you are sitting here, to travel from here to Gwagwalada to go and give that report. We need people who are in Gwagwalada and it is within their area to give us that report. So we call it Community Champion Initiative.
Okay.
This Community Champion Initiative are mainly for people who are in the active citizen, who wants to know, just the way you have the energy, you want to know everything about what is happening in the budget, allocation of funds, sorting. Okay, let me give you an example on the construction of 50-bed capacity space, like was it 200 million was budgeted for it for the constituency for a senatorial district project to construct a 50-bed capacity hospital to Paiko community in Gwagwalada area council. You as a citizen, you want to know the value of that money to that project. You cannot live here and go to Paiko community to go and get those information. So we established this link. We have a platform, we send it to public, even the Twitter, we have an X handle, we have it where we have community champion platform for citizens to engage, or if they want to get information, they want to give us feedback, stay in your community, but be active. If you are active, give us this report in your own community. We will help you take it upward from that place. So we will tell those people in Paiko community, look, if you want to know the value of this your money, visit the hospital, know what they purchase, know how it is. Some of the feedback will go. Some of them say they've completed the hospital, but the equipments are not working. After that, before we know when we get this report, they started to have to purchase this equipment again. When we get another feedback from the same community that this hospital has been locked because they have primary health care in that community, they have general hospital in that community, and now you have another different hospital that you've built for this community. So we are trying to, if we are trying to analyze these things, the community will be drawn to give us feedback on it. Okay, another example is that construction of this Abuja Lokoja Road, and also construction of this Abuja Kaduna Kano Zaria Road. What we'll do is that we'll go to a motor park. Those people who are assessing this road, give us feedback on how this road is. How do you feel when you are assessing this road as a citizen?
Okay.
Because before, on the second day of Salah, before Salah, that is Thursday. Was it Thursday or Wednesday? Thursday, right? When we see on social media that a report came in that there was a lot of hold up in Kaduna, Nigeria, road. These are people who give us this feedback. Me as a budget officer or my Kaduna State budget officer does not need to leave his place and come there. We just need to find a contact person in Jere or around that area to give in accurate feedback of that information. Because we are aware that they've disbursed over 27 billion to this road and the road is not moving fast. We are aware that they budgeted over 33 billion for this road and the project is not moving. So these are information we get. Like me in FCC, I have a community champion in Zuba that will just ask, you, Mr. Man, can you help me get this information for it? We as state officer, we can tip them for transportation, maybe recharge card to them to give us this, because we know as other Nigerians they cannot. Some people cannot. They say, I don't have data, I don't have this. So it is our state officer responsibility to make sure that we coordinate all these things within our state to give Nigerians the accurate feedback of what they need to know.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before, sorry, there is you talked about projects, and I just want to bring up something. A lot of people have been hearing about ghost projects, but some persons don't exactly really know what stands in as ghost project, because we do have for some person like us, we do know that okay, we have things like ghost projects in our budgets, and many of these ghost projects, they're actually ghosts.
Remain ghosts.
They remain ghosts. But then what happens to the money? The money also becomes ghost too. So
their pocket now.
It goes to their pocket.
So for the average Nigerian, the money is not ghost?
The money is not ghost. It go to their pocket, but the project is ghost. Because we don't know where it goes.
Okay. So for the average Nigerian who is probably watching right now and like, okay, yes, they've heard a lot about ghost projects. So how are they able to identify what is a ghost project? And because money is allocated for something, but it doesn't happen. So at what point do you say a project is ghost project? Let's not talk about repetitive project lines. Or now, because they have a way. We attended a workshop sometime late last year. Was it early this year? Late last year. And we're talking about for the Federal Ministry of water resources. And we discovered that when we're analyzing each of the budget, we realized that, okay, there's repetitive lines. That is different. Now, repetitive lines. So something that was there like last year, you still see there again. And then they would tell you that, oh, the money for the one of last year did not come in. So we had to put it back again this year. But how are we sure that the money did not actually come in? So let's now talk, let's focus first of all on Ghost Project. And then for those who want to be a part of the show, who want to send us messages, we actually have the phone lines. If you want to send messages, you want to be a part of the show, we actually have phone lines available that you can be able to be a part of the show. The numbers should be on the screen right about now: 081-4505-5855, 081-4505-5855. Numbers are going to scroll on your screen.
You can send a message on WhatsApp.
Yes, you can send a message on WhatsApp as well to communicate with us. So let's talk about ghost projects.
You see, when I talk of ghost projects, I as a state officer, I've seen a lot.
Thousands.
Yes, I've seen a lot, because when I start to work with budgets, and I realized that the country needs to stand up. Because there was a project I tracked in the Kujeria Council, and funds was disbursed to that project. But I visited the sites. That is a production of rice processing center in a community that does not even produce rice.
Oh, okay.
And also training of youth in the same rice processing center. 50 million naira being budgeted for it. So when I track this project, when I visit the community, I ask the community head, do people produce rice here? No. Has any project been implemented here? No, we have not seen anyone. And that community is very far, that they've said that since their representative got elected, has not visited the community even once. And they use their community name to collect this. So this is an example of this cost project. So the budget have a site that provides this information on the fund being disbursed. Contractors' information is there. Amount allocated to them, disbursed for them is there. Then date of disbursement is there. You go with www.govspent.ng. If you visit this site, you will see. You will see a lot of projects. You just type the project item or what you want to know.
Track.
Yes. It will pop up. If the funds has been disbursed, it will pop up there. There are so fund has been disbursed to it. I also track a project in Kwalera Council that I'm just giving an example since I'm in FCT here. And we discovered that they do the roads from like 0.5 meter, not even up to 1 kilometer. 500 meter. Yeah, sorry, so it was a 0.5 kilometer. That is 500 meter. They did this road and just stop, because the road, Pay Road, is at the Lokoja Highway. So they take it from the highway and just stop somewhere else.
Wow.
It did not even reach the community, and they just stop it. So people now assume that if you are passing now, you assume that the road has been constructed on. And the residents, a lot of communities, they keep on complaining, this road is bad. So we'll now write to the minister, we'll write to their representative, we'll make publications, we'll make a lot of story about it. Later, some few months back, the minister, Nelson Wuke, re-awarded the project, and he has tasked the contractor to commence the project immediately. And that is what they are doing, and in fact the work has gone far in that road. So what you are saying now, the fund now that they disbursed for that project has gone to their pocket, but the work is not on ground.
But when you're talking about reallocation, the people that have been allocated with that before, are the funds retrieved from them and given to the new contractor? Or when they say reallocation, a new amount of money is being generated to give to
a new amount of money is being generated.
Oh. So what happened to that money?
It's gone.
You don't enter
so who probes this money?
So that is why the ICPC comes in.
Oh,
okay. So let us know.
We as an organization, we don't have that constitutional power to prosecute.
Prosecute.
Yes, I understand. But I'm talking about ICPC now.
Yes.
Have there been any instance where this happens, where they probed the fund and the fund came out?
Yes.
I think a few
In
of
fact,
them.
yes, few. So we, according to some of our funding, our own report we gave them. The ICPs are actually working on our feedback we give them. Most time, like in Enugu State, we discover some places that they were ghost projects. So we reported this to them. They went ahead to check the project's contractors, the consultancy, and also the agency in charge of it. They invited them. Before they provided the money to the government. They did not go to the site and do the work. They provide the money to the government. That is one of the success story about that project that we do. Most times they don't give us feedback, but they are trying to maybe to also work on their own policy. Yes, we have the capacity to check, to report, and give feedback to citizens, but we cannot prosecute.
All right. We're trying to wind down, but before we do that, let's talk a bit about citizens' participation in the whole budgeting process. They say the budget reflects the aspirations of the people.
I just forgot. I wanted to respond to
please go ahead.
Names when you say he's going to go to the site, the 30-kilometer road. You see. I saw a video on social media that someone did, and he said that he's in the site, he's just pointing location, GPS, and also giving Nigerian feedback on that. And the same has been there the day of commissioning. He was there. I don't know whether you saw the video when he was doing the video. So what happened to that time that he was there? That now he's now saying he's going back.
I don't think there are certain people that you should pay little to no attention.
So,
well, the president did respond to that, to Nigerians saying that the road was not commissioned, was not completed, and that the project
it was not completed. It was more like a carpet grass kind of thing that we saw. But I think away from that.
What's a carpet?
It was like a center rock. Like it's the number
of. That is AI generated. This thing.
No, the road itself was done.
There
are a lot of AI generated pictures regard to that.
Okay, so a particular woman came out. I'm sure you must have seen that video circulating everywhere around social media, right? And I think one of the government offices had responded to that video as well, talking about how those things are being demolished there. But the project never got to that point. So it's not air-generated pictures.
That's the way we have a project in Abaji, yeah?
Exactly.
Abaji, they have to construct a pedestrian bridge since 2021. 1 billion was allocated for the project, not done. 2022, 200 million was being allocated for it. 2023, 2024, all these 4 years they've allocated funds to that project. It is now that when I visited it the last time, 2024, when I tracked the 2024 one, I discovered that the houses around it, they have demolished them. They want to start, but there's no
work has not still been done. So some of these things, anyways, away from that, the time is fast spent. Let's just talk about citizens' participation, because like I said, budget is meant to reflect the aspiration of the people. Do you think that there was enough stakeholder and citizen participation in the formation of the 2025 budget?
You see, this government has, let me use some language, a local language. This government has wayo. You see, what they did was that they quickly went to pick some stakeholder and just find their own people loyalists and say they are doing town hall meeting about the budget, just finish. So if you still ask them now, they will tell you that they have done a town hall meeting on that project or the budget. If you ask them now, they will tell you that they've done public hearing on that budget that they were planning. So they've actually done all these things, but how actively we are the citizens in that?
The formation of that.
So citizen has less interest in budget aspects because our representatives make it known to them, make it look as if it's a sacred document that citizens will not have access to it. If we visit some community now, we are telling them about the project, their budget in that community. We don't know anything about it now. So they will feel the people, even our local government chairman and FCTA, their budget, what they want to do, they want to prepare their budget. They want to go to another state and do budget retreat. They either travel to Kaduna, they either travel to Lafia to go and do their own local government budget retreat. Why? Because they feel that this document is sacred for the citizen. They don't want to release the information for the citizen so that the citizens will not ask them questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi Garba, for this amazing conversation. Now, before we head out of the studio, they're setting do you have more questions for him?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll when you turn out.
So before we head out of the studio, they're setting their key notes that he did make, and one of which is the fact that the budget is not a secret document, which means that every Nigerian is within their right to ask or to access the document for budgeting. What I notice usually happens in the Nigerian system is we do not follow through with the formation of the budget. We do not question the budget. The only part where we now try to focus on is when the budget implementation is not followed through. But if you follow through, it's just like you are on somebody's case before something is being done. If you follow through or if you participate in the formation of the budget, the tracking of the budget before we get to the implementation, I think that the burden at the later end will be a lot less because now you are part of the process. You questioned it before it became a working document. So I think you should, I mean, we have access to the internet where these informations can be made available to you within the snap of a finger. So try to access some of these websites where you can have a document of the budget so that you know exactly what we are talking about with facts and figures as well. You have the responsibility, or you are well within your right to question the implementation of this budget. Projects that are being yet to be completed, you have the right to follow through, to track those projects, and to question the implementation process. So yes, that's something I think Nigerians should be fully aware of.
All right, and thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi Garba, for joining us to have this conversation. You have been very, very consistent, and I do know that budget is not going down anytime soon. More funds to wherever you guys get your funding from.
Thank you so much.
To monitor projects and track them for our users. I do have one request to make to ask of you, Mr. Garba. There is a particular project around the Galadima side. That particular, I don't know if it's a bridge or what they try to achieve there, but it has been like that since about 2015, 2016 there, but it's been like that. There's no major improvement, not until I think about was it last year or 2023 where they did a little addition to that road, but we really don't know what exactly that place is supposed to be. All we know is a roundabout right now. It has turned to a roundabout and a bridge, but we don't exactly know the kind of bridge that they want to achieve. And we know, one thing I know for sure is that money have been disbursed for that particular project. Contractors have been paid, but that project, it seems like nothing is happening there. So maybe budget can look into that, because I will personally call you to ask you if you guys have been able to track where that money has gone to and what is happening regarding to that project. That's the only thing I want to ask of you.
So I want to respond to this. That project is a FCTA project, Mr. Nelson Wicker project.
No, that was there since 2016, 2015.
I know, it's FCTA project now. So as a minister, when it comes, it becomes your own.
Okay, it becomes his own.
Yes. So if, during Bello time, it was his own.
It was his own.
During the other Muhammad time, it was his own.
Okay.
So that is how it is. But the project is already there. Every time they come, they hand over all the documents to them.
And they collect more money.
They collect more money. So I think the road now is a bridge, because they want to do the road from this CBN straight to that side.
Okay.
To that is Rawan Galadima side. Straight and pass out. That is another bypass. That is another straight road that they want to do. That's the way they are doing that Gishru road.
Yeah.
That is what they want to do there. So it's maybe maybe they have not paid the contractor all the funds.
No, I'm aware that they've paid the contractor.
All the funds. because we don't have that information on our own end.
Database.
So
Yes.
you check for us.
So of course we're
So that
going
we
to
can
do
update
that.
our audience.
Yes, of course we'll do that.
All right.
Either we're going to use FYI to get it,
Okay.
or we'll just check it on our own gospel.
Okay, all right, thank you so much, and I look forward to that response from you, and of course update you guys, because lots of Abuja people are asking regarding to that place. We don't know what's happening there, and that is the much we can have in our conversation this beautiful Tuesday morning. It has been a great time. I hope that you have been able to learn a thing or two from 7 up until now. Don't forget that we are here for you on all platforms. Any question you have for us, anything you want to say to us, we are always here. You can reach us on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, on X. You can also reach Budget as well on all their social platforms. If you have anything you want to show them, pictures, questions you want to ask, you can also reach them too on their social platform and track where your locations are going to. And of course, we are on TikTok. Rapid TV is on TikTok as well. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Official Rapid TV. And our website is 24-hour running, and you can watch us from anywhere in the world, www.rbnradiotv.com. My name is Cynthia Agbo. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. And of course,
all right, this is Martha Arlo. Of course, we'll be joining you tomorrow again. Keep it locked in. Thank you so much.